them and helping them with their school, because they will have their curriculum from school. So we want our volunteers to be able to assist them with that as well.
So the website is theshadetree.org, there on the screen. You must be at least 18 years old to volunteer with a high school diploma or GED, pass a background check, take an orientation virtually as well. The shelter is asking volunteers to commit to at least 1 day per month. The Salvation Army is now doing what they can to help students in need. Donated backpacks stuffed with school supplies and boxes of food were given out just this morning to help families prepare for the upcoming school year. Even though many students will be learning online, the Salvation Army says it is important to still invest in our future and support those kids in their education. That is great to see. Some good news on a Friday. All right, still ahead here at noon on 8 News Now. It is a wrap for the 2020 Democratic National Convention. We have Joe Biden's acceptance speech and what he is promising to do if he's elected. Also ahead, delays in construction, why the MSG Sphere is behind schedule, and when that venue is now expected to open. That's next.
Not a bad apple in the bunch.
To politics, and the Democratic National Convention wrapped up just last night with Joe Biden accepting his party's presidential nomination. In his speech, Biden focused on the coronavirus pandemic. He says if he's elected, he will implement a national strategy to fight the pandemic on day one. And that includes manufacturing medical equipment, PPE, and a national mask mandate.
Just look around. It's not this bad in Canada or Europe or Japan or almost anywhere else in the world. And the president keeps telling us the virus is going to disappear. He keeps waiting for a miracle. Well, I have news for him. No miracle is coming.
In his closing message, Biden promised to fight for the environment, science, and all Americans, whether they vote for him or not. In the meantime, the Republican National Convention starts Monday in Charlotte, North Carolina. President Trump is expected to accept the party's nomination on Thursday, but plans are still being worked out for where the president will accept the nomination. All right, coming up here at noon, the heat and your health. The record-breaking temperatures could spell bad news if you have heart conditions. We have a live interview with a cardiologist coming up next, right here at noon. And it is a hazy day in the valley. There's actually an air quality advisory in effect, and we have another hot weekend ahead. Nate has the forecast right after this.
RC Willie.
You're watching 8 News Now at noon.
Welcome back, everyone. Well, we are all trying to stay cool during this heat wave, but how do the record-breaking temperatures impact your health if you have heart problems? Well, joining us with some insight here at noon is interventional cardiologist Dr. Anthony Dota. Good afternoon to you, doctor. It's great to have you.
Hi, Alex. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for making time for us. Wanted to ask you first, people with heart disease are at a higher risk for heat stroke. Why is that?
Yeah, you're absolutely right. We know that patients with certain cardiac conditions like congestive heart failure, heart artery disease, and certain valvular conditions seem to suffer from heat stroke much more frequently than people without those conditions. And what we found is that patients with those conditions have a more difficult time dissipating heat from their body because they're unable to sort of shunt blood flow appropriately to the skin to get rid of some of that heat and perspire like normal people would be able to. So not only do they get this condition more frequently, but when we do see cases in patients with underlying cardiac conditions, they tend to have more severe manifestations of the heat stroke as well.
I think we've all heard about heat stroke. How dangerous is it?
So heat stroke that requires hospitalization is a very serious condition, and there are some case series that report mortality rates as high as 20%. So it's important that if you recognize that that's what's clinically going on with the patient, to seek medical attention to get appropriate therapy for this.
Okay, so with that in mind, what should you do if you have underlying heart conditions, someone watching right now, and the temperature, say, is above 90 or even 100?
Yeah, so you really have to be cautious when the temperatures outside exceed what your normal body temperature is, which, as most of us know, is around 98.6 degrees. So in Las Vegas, we typically tell our cardiac patients to avoid being outside during the hottest parts of the day. And during this time of year, that's really from about noon to 6 p.m. where we see the hottest temperatures. And if for any reason you're unable to avoid going out and being exposed to these extreme temperatures, wearing loose, light-colored clothing can help. Staying in the shade, obviously, just some of these sort of common sense things, and staying well hydrated as well. So drinking both before exposure, during and after, whether you're thirsty or not, can help prevent one of these problems before it happens.
Absolutely. And so what are the signs of heat stroke? What should we look out for?
So, obviously the increase in body temperature, which people feel as a subjective fever, is the biggest thing. And what we typically see is, lightheadedness, nausea, muscle weakness, severe generalized fatigue, and then the actual heat stroke entity, people get neurologic dysfunction. So you're seeing people that are confused or have slurred speech or can even be comatose. So that's where that sort of stroke portion of the term comes from. So those are the things that are, should be alarm symptoms to seek medical attention.
Yeah, really important things. Dr. Anthony Dota, thank you so much for all of your advice and for making time for us. We really appreciate it.
Hey, thanks for having me. It was my pleasure. Stay safe.
You too, and thank you for all the work you've been doing the past few months. I know it's been hard, so thank you so much.